Yes, my dudes, I'm Alex and thanks for checking out another video. Today, mate, I'm going to be answering your questions, and thank you so much to everybody who sent one over in the previous video. I'm going to be totally honest, I was secretly hoping that I was going to get maybe 2 or 3 questions so that I'd have something to talk about in this video today, and you guys have absolutely blown me away, mate. I got over 20 questions asked, and I'm actually going to split it into a 2-parter. So today, I'm going to answer maybe 6-7 questions, and then I'm going to save the rest until the next video. Some people ask very similar questions, so I've managed to condense it down a little bit so we can get through a lot of topics in a short amount of time. So once again, thank you for sending one over if you did. Let's get straight into it. So question 1 has been sent in from 13 online, and I've got the question written here, so I'm just going to quickly read it to you. So it says, is there a way to play the kit with the snare not on 2 and 4 and still feel good? I feel like I know how to make interesting kick patterns and hi-hat patterns, but when it comes to the snare, every pattern I can think of is based on the snare being on 2 and 4. Do you have any tips on this? So firstly, mate, I feel your pain on this one, and I'm exactly the same. Like a lot of the time when I jump onto the kit, you know, like 90% of my grooves might be based around a backbeat with my snare on 2 and 4. And it's a hard one because a lot of the music that we listen to and a lot of the music that we play our snare drum on 2 and 4. So it can be a really tricky habit to break out of. So the first thing that I would suggest is try and give your practice a little bit of structure. So if you're trying to think of grooves where your snare isn't played on 2 and 4, that means you could play any other note in the bar, and that's a lot of notes to pick from, so it can be a little bit overwhelming. So what I'd suggest is just start with some basic permutations. So you could do this in any subdivision, but for now we're going to focus on 16th notes. Okay, so you might want to start with your snare drum on downbeats, then you can push your snare drum over to the next 16th note, which is the E's, push it over to the and, push it over to the then you start with groups of 2, so you've got 1 E, E and 1. Then you can do it with groups of 3. Eventually, if you're going to play groups of 4, you're playing every 16th note anyway, and then you can also experiment with phrases where you play no snare drums. Now, what we'll do is, just to get things started, let's start with the second exercise, which is pushing your snare drum over to the E. So if I play 8s up on the hi-hat, and every E on the snare drum, we're going to be playing 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. Okay, so it's going to sound like this. Okay, sounds cool enough, but not particularly musical. So what about now if we don't play every single time on the E? So maybe we'll just play, let's take it away from 2 and 4 actually. So let's just play 1 E and 3 E. So now we've got 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4 and. Okay, so already, now we've got a little phrase there that we could start to experiment with and see if we can start to improvise around it. So try and hear that now as a musical motif. Da 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 da. And let's see if we can start to improvise with it. So let's just see what happens. Okay, so there we've got a groove that isn't particularly groundbreaking, but it definitely sounds musical, and our snare drum isn't on 2 and 4. And you're naturally going to find that you're going to start to come up with some ideas that suit your playing style. So just experiment with this stuff. So then what you can start to do is, I would then work on some ideas where maybe you don't play that phrase every single bar. So maybe we'll play that kind of groove, but then we'll also leave a bit of space. So if I improvise something again, you could get something like this. So now we've got a call and response bar. So the first bar, 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and in a response bar, we can either leave some space or play something to complement what we've played in the first bar. Okay, now if you do that for different placements using the E, different placements using the and, different placements using the that's a lot already. And then from there, you're just going to start to come up with some of your own phrases, and you're just like really expanding your vocabulary on the drums, and in particular on the snare drum. So something else that I would recommend having a go at is, once you've worked on all the different permutations, you could have a go at just playing either a phrase that you know, or see if you can just improvise a phrase on the snare drum, and then use the same kind of idea. Try and hear that as a bit of a motif. So if this is our tempo, okay, so you got 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 E under. Again, it's just one idea, but now we've again got a phrase where we're not playing our snare drum on 2 and 4, and it's starting to sound musical. So this is what I'd recommend. Give it a bit of structure, see if you can use those 16th note permutations, try the same thing in triplets or any subdivision that you want to go for, and then try and come up with some phrases on the snare drum and see if you can just expand off of that. Try and hear it as a motif, and then experiment, improvise, see what you can come up with. So thanks for sending in your question. I hope my answer helped. You're a legend, mate. Let's go on to the next one. So question 2, and one that a few people sent over, is who are my biggest influences on the drums? So big shout out to Mason B and Mariedge Suspira. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. In fact, this is my official apology for the rest of the video for every name that I mispronounced, because I'm sure there's many to come. But you guys sent over a question asking about who my biggest influences are. So to be honest, this channel, mate, is just like a list of all the drummers that I'm digging. So if I posted a video on a drummer, it's because they're one of my influences, and like, I have to be hyped on a video. I have to want to upload a video on these drummers, and I've got to want to break down their drumming and want to share it with you guys. So for sure, if it's on the channel, you know that I'm digging the drummers, man. I also want to start to do some videos on maybe some different fusion tunes. So maybe some like Dave Weckl, Billy Cobham, some Vinny stuff, all of that kind of cool stuff. So at the moment, really digging this stuff that I'm uploading, but see how the channel progresses for how my influences keep evolving. And also big shout out to Dread Pirate Robert. You asked similar question, but then you said, what do I think of like the New York drummers, like Dan Weiss, Nate Wood, Ari Honig? Love them, man, love them. I need to make some videos on a few more drummers in New York, because they're just like killing it as well, man. I also really like Zach Danziger. I also really like Zach Danziger. He's a big influence for me, and he's just like insane, man. So yeah, just keep checking out the channel, see how it evolves. Let me know down in the comments who are your influences, man. I'd love to hear that as well. Number 1.